Good evening and welcome to Todd Klindt SharePoint Netcast number 226, recorded live on Monday, December 8th, 2014. I am not Todd Klindt, but I am Shane Young, here once again to host this fabulous show because, well, Todd just doesn't like you all anymore, so keep sticking me with you. I am here in Cincinnati, Ohio. If you can read the cute little sign over my shoulder, I'm at the Rackspace office. I'm actually at my desk. I don't know, I thought every time I do the show, I feel like I should do it somewhere different, so this time we're doing it from my desk. So speaking of Rackspace, quick little shout out since they are the sponsors of the show. They provide all the bandwidth that Todd uses. You know, think of them for your SharePoint needs. SharePoint.rackspace.com. Friends of yours, friends of mine, friends of this building. Good people. So, you know, you got the SharePoint stuff. You can also check out, if you're into Cloud OS, my new hobby, if you will, Rackspace.com/Microsoft, and then there's a Cloud OS tab there if you want to come and see all the new toys I'm playing with. All right, well, on this Monday night, let's hop right in and get started. The chat room is filling up. You know, I try to wait a couple minutes late to get started so they get here on time. They just always show up right after I start. So, hi, chat room. So production notes, last week, as you probably remember, Todd brought in his first guest via the YouTube Hangout, and it was this guy right here, so you're probably tired of me already. But he thought it went pretty well. I, as the guest, thought it went pretty well, but Todd is definitely looking for feedback, so you can either tweet him at Todd Klindt, or you can email him, todd.klindt@rackspace.com. Either way, it works out pretty well. But if you'll do that, you know, just let Todd know the show went okay, or it was weird having me, you know, in there, or it was better with me and you wish I was always there. One of you, I think it was BJ, actually emailed Todd and said, hey, it was really nice having Shane on the show, and I really wish we got more Shane time. True story. He sent the email. I just had to enjoy it. Aw. I'm going to wave back to my friends in the chat room. All right. So, jumping right in here. Topics for tonight. And as always, you know, I'm never very good with lots of SharePointy topics like Todd, but I'd like to, you know, kind of give you guys some variety. So the first one I want to start with is Grumpy Cat makes $100 million. I don't know how many of you, you know, read the article today, but, you know, the lady, apparently she was, you know, 29, being an awesome waitress, really kicking butt at life. She ends up with a cat with dwarfism, and an underbite, throws some internet pictures up, and 2 years later, she's made $100 million off of all those cat memes. So, and I don't know what to tell you guys. I would tell you probably go home, or you're already at home, but find your cat, your dog, take some pictures, and try some internet memes. You know, if you can make $100 million from just taking pictures of the world, then you should do it. All right, so that is my friend the Grumpy Cat. Another one, and I actually don't have a link for this, but I got a email from Microsoft today. I mentioned, you know, I've been playing with Cloud OS, and so from that I've got some new connections. And obviously our product today is called Cloud OS powered by Rackspace. Well, my Microsoft guy today emailed me some bad news. Well, maybe it's good news. I don't know. It was bad news for me, but maybe it's good news for the rest of the world. But they're actually renaming Cloud OS to the Microsoft Cloud Platform. That's right. They went from the generic name of Microsoft Cloud OS to an even more generic name of Microsoft Cloud Platform. So there you go. I am the guy who is breaking the news. Apparently there won't be a press release or a ticker tape parade about this. They're just going to kind of start over the next few months transitioning Cloud OS into the Microsoft Cloud Platform. What I think is even more amusing, this is where I'm going to get myself in trouble, but you know, if you go and search search Cloud Platform, well, you'll find out that I think Citrix has a product called that. I think Oracle does. I don't know. I did some searching there. There's like 4 or 5 people who have a product called Cloud Platform already, so it won't add to the confusion one bit that Microsoft is now going to use that name. I really can't tell you how much it annoys me. Especially, I just finished a white paper today, and guess what I ended up doing? Open up Word, bind and replace. Do 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 do. Not a good time. So anyway, that's your random news note that I'm actually breaking because I don't think anyone knows because probably no one cares. But if you care, now you know. All right. Yeah, the chat room's commenting, none of them saw anything about that today. Yeah, I literally don't think they're going to announce it. I think it's just kind of, they're telling people like me, hey, bad news, it's coming. So you'll probably notice it kind of over time, but I don't think there's a blog post or anything else I can point you to that is the official word. This is Scoop, baby. Scoop. Doing my 80s dance moves. Those of you that only listen to the show and don't actually watch it, you'll be happy you didn't just have to see my dance move there. All right, yep, and Naomi said, yeah, just what we need, more platform and more cowbell. That's it. All right, so next, this is the topic I actually planned on spending probably the bulk of the show here on, but you've all are aware of the band, right? Everyone's heard someone talk about it. You've read 4 or 5 posts. Maybe you tried to buy one and it's a pain in the butt to buy. It's all understandable. Well, I thought since I've had one since a couple days after they came out, I wanted to kind of go through today and give you a review, but not like, oh, look at this feature, look at that feature, but actually talk to you about it as a guy who actually uses one and uses one quite a bit, what my thoughts are. So first off, I guess we'll kind of back up. And so back in January of 2013, so almost 2 years ago, that's when I got my first Fitbit. And it was my handy-dandy little friend. It was a Fitbit Zip. It was the cheap little guy, it was like $40. He uses that nice little 20 by 25 battery. I got that, and I got the itch. We started having work competitions, doing lots and lots of steps. And I've been pretty happy with it. Probably about a year after maybe like 9 months after that, I actually ended up getting a Force. When the Force came out, right, that was the Fitbit one that had the display, so it was the first one that could tell you your time and your calories and all that actually on the wristband. And I got that one. I was really happy with it for the most part. I didn't end up with rashes, right? You might remember they ended up being discontinued because too many people got rashes. And then they actually started just offering refunds to anybody that had one because they were a liability. I think we were all going to die if we kept our Fitbit Force. But I had that one for a while, and I got rid of it because I got tired of it. And the reason I got tired of it is while I liked the wrist aspect when I was actually, maybe when I was going out for a run or trying to actually exercise, I kind of got annoyed with it from day to day for just counting my steps, right? I'm a pretty consistent, I get 10,000 steps every single day, no matter what type of person. So even if I go to a fancy dinner and I put on my fancy watch, I would take the Fitbit Force, the wristband, and I'd put it in my pocket because I wanted to keep counting steps all day. So I wasn't really a big fan of that. Also, I play volleyball. You probably didn't know this, but I actually used to play competitive volleyball. I used to travel. I've also coached some national teams. Volleyball is one of my passions somewhere in my early 20s. I still play today, but not at the same crazy level. But trying to play volleyball with something like that on your wrist, you take one shot with it, and it ends up cutting your wrist up pretty good. So anyway, I say all that to say I wasn't a huge fan of the wristband Fitbit, and I actually got rid of it and went back to a Zip. So I've had my third Zip here, or my third Fitbit product, second Zip, for a while, and when the Microsoft Band came out, this guy, I was like, man, the nerd in me really wants a Microsoft Band, but I don't know if I really want to give up the Fitbit. So when I got the band, I put the Fitbit on the dresser for probably about a week and tried just using the band, right? Because we know the band will do steps. But turns out, all those things I didn't like about wearing the Fitbit Force was the same thing I didn't like about the band. So guess who's in my pocket today? Actually today, just for giggles, I actually wore both of them. I will tell you that the Fitbit says I have 8,767 steps, and the band says I have 8,070. And that's generally been one of those things I've noticed, is that there's probably about, I don't know, there's usually a few hundred up to 10% variance between the two. The Fitbit Zip always seems to have more. So that was one of the things I found interesting. It's harder to get on my 10,000 steps if I use the band. But so you're like, well, wait, why, if you're using the Fitbit all the time, why do you still have a band? Why don't you sell it? Why don't you take it back, something like that? Because I actually still like the band. It just has, for me, a lot of different purposes. And really what it is for me is there's a few things. So one of the things that I really like about it is the ability, the built-in GPS with it, where I can actually track a workout or a run. And so what I want to show you on here was, back right before Thanksgiving, I actually went and played 9 holes of golf. It was like 35 degrees. I'm kind of dedicated to golf too. But so when I took the Fitbit, it's going to be hard to see on here, but I turned it on and I said, yeah, you just can't read it, so I'm going to have to read it to you. Track my steps like I'm going for a run, but I did it as I walked 9 holes of golf. And so if you look, and once again, it's not going to show up very well, but it actually, thanks to GPS and the map app, it actually shows all the holes. So I can actually kind of go back through here and I can see myself where I went from 1 to 2. I can see that on hole number 4, I bladed it from one side of the green to the other, so you see me walk the zigzag pattern. It's kind of a fun way to remember my round, going back through that. But one of the things I like about it is, it also did calories burned. So it turns out carrying a 30-pound bag and walking 9 holes of golf in the cold, I burned 920 calories. 512 of those were fat calories and 408 were carbs. And it does most of that, right, based on the pace of my movement and the heart rate. And so I find that that's one of the things I really like about the band, is if I'm going to do some type of exercise like that, I can actually get an idea of what I'm doing thanks to the heart rate monitor, which is not something that in my previous Fitbits I could do. And it's also kind of funny, I've become a heart rate nerd. I don't know why, but I'm really obsessed with what is my heart rate at any given point. I'm going to put it on right now just so I can find out what my heart rate is doing the show, but I bet it's pretty high. It's in the doctor's office. My heart rate right now is like 60. It's my standing, I'm just sitting there heart rate. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Why? 'Cause I'm a dork. Let's see. What is my heart rate now? I'm guessing it's going to be 100. Because I feel like, oh, look at that. I am not as excited as I sound. I am only at a 75 right now. So anyway, that's another feature of the band I really like, is the heart rate. I also use it for the sleep tracking, but I probably only do the sleep tracking about once a week. And what I found with the sleep tracking is it interests me, the numbers and things I get back, but it really kind of saddens me, right? Because one of the numbers it tracks is how much restful sleep did you get. And so even if I get 8 hours of, I'm asleep for 8 hours, right, by its measurements, it'll be like, hey, you only had an hour and a half of restful sleep. And I think that's, what it's referring to as the deepest sleep. So the rest of it is either, times where I'm jostling around so much I'm awake, or I'm just barely asleep. But it also tracks the calories. So I know, that pizza I ate right before dinner all got burned while I was sleeping. But I think the sleep stuff is interesting. I would like better understandings, though, of how what it considers restful sleep versus not. So the sleep stuff, that's another one. But one of the biggest places I really like this, so when I'm here in the Cincinnati office, this is it, right? I sit here at this desk with this headset on for 8 hours, pretty much straight, on meetings with video calls and things like that. I don't do a lot, but I've got 4 monitors, so I can be having the video call right here, and then I am over here playing my game, and my email's over here in case anything comes up, right? So I get to multitask. So on days like that, I don't use the band much. But when I travel back to our corporate headquarters, which we affectionately call the castle, and I'm bouncing from meeting to meeting there, and I'm kind of going from here and there, I actually am a really big fan of the little guy, right? Because I put it on my wrist, and then as I'm sitting in the meetings, I can flip through my emails, I can watch the stock stuff. I have no problems keeping up with all that stuff. But no one really knows, right? Because everyone's like, oh, why does he check the time so much? Because people just aren't really used to the idea of a a smart watch. So that, for those of you that are in a corporate setting where you're up away from your desk all the time, I think that's a great use of the band. It's also like when I go to dinner with the in-laws and things like that, same deal. Wear the band. I can play the band. Because if you play with your phone, you get busted, right? People are like, why are you on your phone? Pay attention to us. But if you're playing with your wrists, they just kind of ignore you. So another great use of the band, in my opinion. Some other features of the band that I actually am a fan of. One of them is the VIP list. So that you get all your emails, right? Once you connect it to your device, you get all your emails here. But what you can also do with that, well, what can you do? Is you set up a VIP list. And so the VIP list, only when one of those people emails me does my wrist actually vibrate. So I might have mentioned before, I like to sneak out and play golf on the work hours. Quite often, actually. I'll probably get fired for this video one day, thanks to HR. They'll find this. Whatever, who cares? But so my boss and my wife are two of the people of my VIP list. So when I'm on the golf course, when I'm supposed to be at my desk, if my boss emails me, guess what my wrist does? It vibrates. And I know to check my email, and boom, there's the email from him, and I can start going into damage control at that point. So really kind of a fan of the VIP list. So that is another one. Speaking of that vibration, the vibration allows me to set my phone to silent. I hate when my phone makes noises, whether that be text message beeping or phone ringing. So it's on complete silent when I'm wearing the band. And so then I just get vibrations anytime the phone would want it to have rung before, ringed, but whenever it wanted to ring. So anyway, I would recommend, I like that feature of it. I also like the silent alarm. So if I set an alarm, right, it wakes me up by vibrating instead of beep, 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 which is very annoying also. The last way that I would like to learn to use it better, but I have not started doing too much of, is you can talk to it, right? So I did this earlier today. Let's see if I can do it. And I actually have, so I'm going to take it, I'm going to press the button, right, and I'm going to do one of my kids' favorite jokes. I'm going to press the button again, right? I'm going to say, Cortana, what did the fox say? Thinking. Just a sec. Thinking. Oh, come on. You worked just fine earlier when I did this. It's going to fail. Let's try this again. One more time. What did the fox say? Come on, I do this all the time. You know the answer. There it is. Ring, ding, 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 ding. Right, that stupid song. My kids love the song, so that's why I do it. But so, anyway, I point all this out to say that, a lot of my friends have bands. They've actually gotten into the habit of using Cortana through it. So if they have a Windows phone, you can go ahead and you can talk to it. So you can actually in the show notes here, I've got a link to some of the different commands you can give Cortana. So you can ask her stupid questions like, will you marry me, and all that fun stuff. But you can do things like, text Todd Klindt, or, set a reminder to, call my mom, or turn the heat back on in my office before I leave. One of my favorite ones, of course, is the old, remind me to get milk when I go to Target. So, and speaking of Todd, little memento. This is really sad, but I'm glad I'm going to share this moment with you guys. This is no lie. When I was looking at things that are on my desk that you could see in the background, like my fancy golf hat, I found one of my favorite items on my desk. What is that? Oh, it's not going to focus very well. Come on, focus. The glare's killing it. But that is a picture of Todd and I at SPC. There it is. Todd kissing me while we're signing a book. This is actually on a heart-shaped frame on my my desk. So once again, those of you that only listen to the show and don't actually watch it, you're in luck. You will not have to see the picture of Todd kissing me. So I don't know why I pointed that out, but I did. It was on my desk. I do have a picture of my wife and kids as well. Don't worry. It's actually taped. All right. So anyway, that was kind of my overview of the band. Laura's in the chat room. She remembers the Todd and Shane kissing. What's really funny is also one of our, I guess, my boss at that point is in the background texting, so it's nice that he's in the picture as well. Oh, now in the chat room they're remembering some of the old pictures. There's too many kissing pictures. Not going to talk about those now. So anyway, next topic. We talked about this, or brought it up for a moment last week, and we didn't actually get to it. But Todd wanted me to tell you the story about the molesting car. So the long story short there is, the wife and I were trying to figure out what to replace our ML with. We've had 2 MLs in a row, and we're like, probably time for something different. So I have test drove every mid-sized, a little bit largest SUV on the planet. The Acura, the Infiniti, Ford Explorer, which Todd has and loves and didn't care for. Fortunately, he won't watch the show. He won't know I said that. And a few other ones. But one of the ones that test drive was a little interesting. So a lot of them these days have lane departure warnings, right? If you go over the yellow line or the white line, depending on which side of the pond you're on. When you go over the line, right, they'll beep at you or they'll nudge the steering wheel, different type of safety features to make sure you're not leaving your lane when you're on the highway. Well, it turns out that the Cadillac SRX, it doesn't feel like, beeping or nudging the steering wheel, but instead, it vibrates your booty whenever you leave the lane. That's right, folks. When you veer a little far to the left, it grabs your left cheek, goes, Vee! And so when you're on a test drive and no one has warned you about this, and you're just driving down the road, kind of checking the car out, and all of a sudden the car reaches up and touches you somewhere that cars aren't supposed to touch you, it's a little awkward. So that is my warning to you, is as you start test driving cars, watch out for the ones that have lane departure systems that vibrate your booty whenever you leave the lane. Someone just mentioned the Land Rover Discovery in the chat room. I have not driven that one. That is actually on the list to drive before we decide for certain. But yeah. So anyway, there you go. There's the story of the Cadillac SRX touching me funny. If you have any recommendations on SUVs in that frame, right now we're leaning towards the Infiniti QX60. Definitely tweet me or email me. I'd love to hear your feedback. I really would like to stick with the ML350. The problem with the ML is the technology stuff is just way behind. They have a lot of the fancy safety features. I've had 2 of them. I love to drive it. It looks good. It's a good size. Lots of room. But, man, just when you drive like the Infiniti, it has a round view camera. So literally when you're going over 5 miles an hour, you can press a button and it shows a camera that completely encompasses the whole car. So it's actually like 4 or 5 cameras pieced together. But it should cut down on the number of times that someone in my household who has an office on their side of that wall hits things like the garage doors or other cars, because there's no excuse, because you can always see all your bumpers. So that's pretty cool. The QX has got a touchscreen. The ML is still the old clunky dial. So I don't know. Sorry, some people were throwing some Toyota ideas out there. I currently have a Toyota Sienna as a minivan. I'm probably not going to buy another Toyota for a long time. That car annoys me to no end. They did so many. Overall, the Sienna is a great car, good room, drives okay, blah, blah, blah. But there is about 100 little things that they cut corners on that just infuriate me to no end. And to that end, I just can't bring myself to buy another Toyota. If any of you know a Toyota engineer that would like to understand all the things that they do wrong on that car, like the backup camera, for example, it's about as good as the camera on your first cell phone. Not lying, not exaggerating. It's a piece of trash. The DVD system does whatever it wants. You pay umpteen $1 million to add the built-in DVD system. It sucks. It beeps too much. The speedometer is wrong. They don't care. The gas tank is about this big. Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm not talking about cars anymore, but don't bother suggesting any Toyotas. All right, what are we doing? About half an hour. Let's see. last little topic here. I won't spend long, but as you guys have known, the last few, pretty much every time that I've hosted the show on my own in the last 6 months, kind of done one of my business topics. So today I wanted to end on one of these. According to my buddy Jack, this is the world I should be trying to stick in, right? Todd's got the SharePoint space locked down. I should go be the business Netcast guy. I'm guessing there's much smarter, better-looking people that are doing it than I am, but nonetheless, here is the topic for tonight. And so here's the link to an article, and it's called "Problem is that life isn't unfair, it's that you don't know the rules." And so what it does is it kind of walks you through, a lot of people like to be, if life was fair, I would be rich and famous, blah, 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 and, it's not fair, I work hard, and, all the complaints that people have about why, life is not working out for them. And the article goes through, explaining that it's great that you want life to be fair, but it's just really not. So you need to understand what the rules of life are. And I think the most important one to me is the very first rule that they talk through, and it's life is a competition. Right? Everything that you have, someone else wants. Right? Your job, someone wants it. So you've got to do a good enough job to keep it. Your company that you work for, someone's trying to put your company out of business. So you've got to do a good enough job at your job, and all your coworkers got to do to keep your company moving forward, right? Everything about life is a competition. You want to date the pretty girl down the hall, so do 10 other guys. It's a competition. So you've got to kind of, embrace that facet of life. And one of the best lines in that section of the article is it says, if you don't think life is a competition, that's because you're losing. So seemed a little harsh, but I am kind of harsh, so I thought that was a great one. So life is a competition. That's a good one. The second point it talks through is you're judged by what you do, not what you think. And really, I think it's a bad title to a section, because really what the section boils down to is it's how many people do you affect, right? So for example, I think the one of the ones he uses in there is the person who has the most perfect voice, right? It's pitch perfect. They have great musical accompaniment, the perfect song. If you take that song and you record it and only 10 people listen to it, it's not a big deal. Whereas you could be some guy like me who can't sing very well, but maybe I fall off the stage as I'm singing and it goes viral on YouTube and 1 billion people watch it and I put ads on it and, I make a whole bunch of money, right? If life was fair, the guy who was a really great singer would make a bunch of money for his song singing, but it turns out it's the one that affected the most people, which was me and my poor singing but falling off the stage, that actually, wins that competition. So it's another one of those things, it's another one of those things that's just worth embracing. Yeah, so Naomi just chimed in. One of the things she likes to say in her sessions is learning to learn faster is the only sustainable competitive advantage. So, great one there. And then the last one there, right, our ideas of fairness is self-interest. So you want life to be fair, they have a great picture. I won't describe it in the article, but, a guy doing something inappropriate, right? He wants to date a girl, and well, if life was fair, he'd be dating her, but everyone wants to date her because she's the really pretty girl. So why wouldn't, how does it fair for all of them? You don't really want life to be fair. You want yourself to win. So it goes back to just accept it's a competition and go win the competition, and then you can call life fair. So anyway, I would recommend that one for you guys to read. It's in there. It's on my list of management topics. Last little thing here, since we got a minute. Yeah, why not? Last complaint. Complaint. That's what really way to end the show on a positive note. LED TVs versus plasma TVs. I don't understand why plasma lost. I have one TV that is an LED, sharp aquos, blah, 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 super TV, yay! And then I have this plasma, just plain run-of-the-mill plasma. I love my plasma. It's older, it is a smaller TV, but it is such better quality for watching things like sports and such. And I don't understand. It's really what I want in life. I want someone to find me. I want an 80-inch plasma TV that doesn't cost $20,000. So if any of you have got any connections there, you know, because I mean, I can go to Costco right now and buy an 80-inch LED for LCD or L something D, LSD maybe. You know, I can buy one of those for like $2,000. Why can't I buy an 80-inch $2,000 plasma TV? If you find that for me, I would buy it tomorrow because I love plasma and I hate my LCD TV, LED TV, whatever it is. So that's my what grinds my gears, right? Old Peter Griffin style. So I think that's all of it. Also, just remember, yep, people are shopping online for TVs as we speak. So buy a plasma if you can find one that'll fit your size. It is a better TV, especially if you like to watch sports. And who doesn't watch football? Lori, what's the football score? See if we can get a quick football score update. I know everyone's watching Monday Night Football. Oh, the Packers are destroying Atlanta, as expected, 31-7. It's probably on the second quarter. So that's good news, right? You're not missing anything by hanging out with me. It's at halftime. And now the NFL is going to sue me for giving a update on their game. All right. So rolling into the end here, we've got the shameless promotion stuff. It's not really shameless for me, though, because it's all for Todd. Well, no, yes, it's not. So SP TechCon in Austin's coming up. It is coming up February 8th through the 11th. Todd and I will be there. We're doing some upgrade sessions, some admin sessions, some PowerShell sessions, lots of fun stuff. Then Todd is planning on going over to, I think, London for the SharePoint Evolutions, April 20th through the 22nd. It is not for me. So anyway, those are the two upcoming things, and hopefully, you know, you've probably seen some press lately. I think there's some discount coupons out there for the Microsoft Ignite conference. Todd and I are still got our fingers crossed we'll get to some speaking out there for that. So I think that's it. Naomi would also like me to know that the reason Plasma doesn't win is it's bad for the environment. Well, you know, life's not fair. If it's a better platform, it should win. Boom! Tied it all together in a nice little bow. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed the show, and if not, well, tough. All right, thanks. Have a good day.